Hello and welcome to Leeroy Gaming, where today I am going to continue our deep dive look at all of the classes and subclasses found within Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous based on the beta version. Now today we will be covering the fighter class as well as the hunter class and all of their subclasses. Again, if you have not seen any of my previous videos, as these are quite extensive, I go over all of the main feats and features of the video, or rather of all the classes and subclasses. It is long. To help you out, I have provided, as always, timestamps in the description below. Also, as I am going through these about 2 or 3 at a time, and there are a lot of classes to go through, if you are keeping up with me actively as I post these, if there are specific classes you would like for me to focus on next, please do leave a comment below, and I will prioritize classes that people want to see. So make sure to check out my playlist to see what I have already covered, and if the class you're interested in is not listed there yet, leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to prioritize the things that my viewers want. So, without further ado, let us go ahead and get started with the first class of today, which will be the fighter. And we will begin by looking at the baseline fighter. Now, fighters excel at combat, defeating their enemies, controlling the flow of battle, and surviving such sorties themselves. While their specific weapons and methods grant them a wide variety of tactics, you can match fighters for sheer battle prowess. And this is one of the most straightforward classes if you're getting into Pathfinder. They've got the straight bad progression, basically means, every level they're going to get +1 to attack, so they're going to be strong when it comes to martial combat. And they will give you the most amount of variety when it comes to making sure they have a lot of opportunities to get various feats. Now, as far as base fighter special abilities go, on top of the normal feat selection you basically get every other level, you're going to get fighter proficiencies. So fighters are proficient with all simple and martial weapons, as well as all armor, including tower shield. So you'll notice almost every other class, might actually be every major other class, will always have a limitation. So they'll say all armor, even, and shields, except tower shields. Well, here you even have the tower shields already taken care of. You're not going to have to waste a feat on getting access to them. Next, you're going to get on top of the top feat progression here that you'll see commonly. You're going to see a full line of bonus feats, starting at level 1 and then continuing level 2, level 4, as you can see, and then every other level. What this basically means, as you can see by this graph here, you're going to have a combat feat to choose from every level. The only difference is on these even levels, they're going to be selected from a list as noted here called fighter bonus feats. But for most intents and purposes, as long as you're choosing basically very combat heavy feats, that's what these are going to help you cover. And then the normal feat progression that everybody gets, you're going to be able to pick from anything pretty much. And then do notice if you're a human, you're going to receive a bonus feat at first level. For this purpose, I kind of created just a dwarf, so you're not going to see that. We have other features that they choose instead. Now the next element is something called bravery. You're going to get starting at level 2. A fighter gains +1 bonus on will saves against fear, and increases +1 for every 4 levels beyond. So you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and basically +5 will saves against fear by the time you get level 18. Next thing you get is armor training. So starting at level 3, a fighter learns to be more maneuverable while wearing armor. When he's wearing armor, he reduces the armor check penalty by 1 to a minimum of 0. Increases the maximum dex bonus allowed by armor by 1. Every 4 levels, so 7th as you can see, at 11th, at 15th, and at 19th, you're going to basically increase this bonus to a maximum of -4 reduction in armor check, and then get a bonus of +4 allowed maximum dexterity bonus for the armor. So for example, a lot of the baseline heavy armor will only let you have a +1 dex check bonus to armor class. So even if you have 18 dexterity, which normally give you +4 armor, if you're wearing plate, you're only going to get +1 from that. So in this case, you could have, as in those specific stats, you could have as much as 20 dexterity, which is a +5 modifier to AC from dexterity on that said basic plate armor, and still get your maximum dex bonus. But again, that would be at level 19. So that's a pretty big deal. Also, when they talk about these armor check penalties, so this has to do when you're in game, have to do like a mobility check, athletics check, anything like that. You will get a penalty to those checks because you're encumbered by this heavy armor. So again, you're going to get more comfortable being more agile and doing a lot of these activities wearing your heavy armor because, again, you have this advanced armor training. Now, in addition, let's take a look here. At level 19, a fighter gains damage reduction 5, and notice it says 5/ this line, whenever he is wearing armor or using a shield. This is the highest quality of damage reduction. It means it's 5 damage reduction per hit, and it's not mitigated by anything. Most of these will say like 5/ adamantine or different elements, and whatever that wording is in that little section where we have the little line here, is what it takes in order to bypass that damage reduction. So again, by the 19th level, obviously this is very, very far in the game, but you're just going to be you're getting even more out of your armor basically, on top of whatever magical effects the armor you have at that level has. You also get weapon training, and this is an interesting feature. So when I first read this, it was a little confusing, but let me explain to you guys. So starting at 5th level, a fighter can select one group of weapons. Whenever he attacks that weapon, a weapon from that group, he gains +1 bonus on attacks and damage. Okay, and every 4th level, so as you can see, 9th, 13th, 17th, fighter becomes further trained in another group of weapons. Gains +1 on attack and damage rolls when using weapon from that group. Now, in addition, and this is the key part, bonuses granted by each previous group increases by +1. So what this really basically means is, let's say you first specialize in a group of weapons that has like long swords, right? And then later on, a level, let's say at level 9, you're going to pick one that has glaives. So at level 9, your glaives are going to get +1 bonus to attack and +1 to damage. But your longsword group, the one that has long swords, is now +2 attack and +2 damage. As you increase these, they're going to keep increasing. So you may get a group that has, let's say longbows. So now the glaive has +2/+2, but the longsword category now will have +3 hit to hit and +2 to damage. So as you can see, technically, if that very first group, let's just say, was longsword against, again, +1 to that. By the time you get your second one, you're going to get +2, then +3, +4, +5, +6, and theoretically it looks like +7 to hit and the same to damage. And obviously that glaive will be at that point, +5. +6, and the other +7, and so forth. So it would behoove you to, whatever, if you think you're gonna be using one very specific type of weapon, you're gonna want to place those bets on that very first category. But later on, maybe you'll get an amazing weapon in a different category, and you may choose this. Now, in addition to that bonus, it's important to note that bonuses granted from overlapping groups do not stack. Take the highest bonus grant from weapon if it resides in 2 or more groups. So there are overlapping ones. So it's very possible that you may have these 7 choices, and that first one is not +7 because you've chosen groups that overlap. but I think you get the idea. Now also, here at the bottom of notes, a fighter also adds this bonus to any combat maneuver check into the weapon from his group. This bonus also applies to the fighter's combat maneuver defense when defending against disarm attempts against weapons from this group. So if you're trying to, like, you know, trip or you're defending, obviously, from trying to disarm from a weapon, you're just going to have easier time either doing those abilities or defending against losing your weapon. So that's pretty key. And then you're going to get weapon mastery at 20th level. So a fighter chooses one weapon, such as a longsword, great axe, or longbow. Those are just 3 examples. You can pick any weapon. Any attacks made with that weapon automatically confirms all critical threats and has their damage multiplier increased by 1. So +2 becomes ×2 becomes ×3, for example. In addition, it cannot be disarmed while wielding a weapon of this type. So quite literally weapon mastery. And the weapon crit confirmation is kind of a key. If you don't know, basically, let's say the worst type of crit range is critting only if you roll a natural 20. But other ones you can roll 19 or 20. Other ones eventually can get to be 17, 18, 19, or 20. Once you hit that roll, you still have to roll again to confirm the crit. So it's very possible to hit that crit range, but then not confirm the crit. And that's always a bummer when that happens. But in this case, it'll guarantee you that you crit. So, as you can probably gather here, it's very straightforward. There's no real complexity, but if you want a maximum amount of options when it comes to martial combat, and also getting the most natural defense, this is going to give you the most versatility with the fighter base class. Okay. Now let us now go and take a look at the subclasses, because there's quite a few. We're going to start with Aldori Defender. Aldori Sword Lance of Brevoy, Sword Lords, my apologies, of Brevoy, amongst the deadliest and most feared fighters of the Inner Sea. They've spent long years mastering the Aldori dueling sword, pitting themselves against other dueling swords and all manners of weaponry besides. Their speed and reflexes weave a net of impenetrable steel around them, from which they strike and harry their unfortunate opponents. The most common form of Aldori dueling, and arguably the easiest of the techniques to master, focuses on avoiding damage and disarming foes. These sword lords prefer to wield light or no armor, trusting their skills for protection. Now, I do want to point out that dueling swords is a type of sword. Quite literally, it's a category, like longsword, like short sword. So that is important to keep in mind when factoring in the weapon training that we will see and then how we discussed in the base class. So let's look at the differences. Now, you're still going to get full fighter proficiencies when it comes to simple and martial weapons, as well as armor. But you will get a built-in weapon proficiency in a dueling swords. You become proficient with dueling swords, use them as a weapon. These are, I believe the term is exotic weapons normally. So you would have to, other classes can get this as well, but they would have to burn, a feat as you level up to get it. You get your normal bonus feat progression, except that you miss out on a couple. So notice they normally go every other level, but here we have a couple missing. So you're gonna basically miss, looks like 1, 2, 3 of them are taken away. You still get the bravery, the +1 bonus on will saves against fear, and still builds up to +3, +4, +5 by the time you get 18. A big thing you have added instead is defensive parry. So 3rd level, when a sword lord makes a full attack with a dueling sword, so a full attack is your full attack action, as opposed to if you were to like charge, for example, which makes you do 1 attack unless you have very particular feats. So when you get that full attack in, you gain +1 bonus to armor class against melee attacks until the beginning of his next turn, and it increases every 4th level afterwards to get +1, +2 at 7, +3, +4, and then +5 armor class by the time you hit 19th level if you single class in this. Now you also get those weapon trainings, so you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All 7 options, just like the fighter. And you still get Weapon Master 20th. So offensively, same amount of options on this as the base fighter. Now, you'll notice you don't have the armor training bonus line like you do with the basic fighter. Instead, you're gonna get these other options here. Number 1, you get Disarming Strike. So at 6th level, when a Sword Lord successfully disarms an opponent using a dueling sword, Sword Lord also deals normal damage to the target, but without normal strength bonus to damage. So normally when you do a special action like disarm, you're just disarming. You're basically foregoing an ability. This allows you to get damage, but again, you're not going to get that strength modifier. And obviously, if you fail to disarm, you're not going to get the damage. Next, you get Steel Net. At 8th level, a Sword Lord can throw up a blazing wall of steel to defend himself. When fighting defensively with dueling sword, the Sword Lord's penalties on all attacks in a round are reduced by 2. The dodge bonus to AC is increased by 2 for the same round. So, at baseline, the penalty they're talking about is that you get a -4 to your attacks. So here you get -2. And normally you get a base dodge bonus of +2 armor class. This will buff it up for +4. So they get really efficient at defensive fighting. I believe, off the top of my head, you can get, I don't remember if it's mobility or there is a very specific skill you can increase that when you get it high enough, your defensive fighting technique gets more efficient. So you can basically combine it with this effect, make it that you pretty much have no negative impact on, no negative penalty for fighting defensively, and you get nothing but benefits eventually. So that's important to note, and not surprising. I mean, this is the Aldori Defender we're talking about here. And then you're going to get, this is key to the class as well, level 10, the counterattack. So at 10th level, Sword Lord can make an attack of opportunity as an immediate action against an opponent who hits the Sword Lord with a melee attack, so long as the attacking creature is within the Sword Lord's reach. So when you get hit, you can attack back. Normally you can only do attacks of opportunity when under criteria like if somebody's moving away outside of your range, your attack range, you get that little opportunity if they don't have a feature that lets them not cause attacks of opportunity. So this is also key, just another way where you're kind of defending and doing reactive damage, which is great. And finally, at 19th, you're going to get that Armor Mastery that base fighters have as well, which is that base damage reduction of 5 and not negated by anything when wearing armor and using as shield. You're just not going to get all those, you know, easements on penalties to skill checks, and you're not going to get the increases to armor class, maximum armor class from your dex stat. So that's a big thing for this class. All right, or subclass rather. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the Armiger. Hope I pronounced that right. So, until would-be Hellknights take the trial referred to simply as the test, in which they enter single combat, but conjure devil, and either emerge victorious or die, they're known as Armigers. Well, this is a blanket term for all Hellknights in training, including those training to become signifiers. It also applies specifically to fighters who focus their training to become Hellknights. Despite the lack of recognized rank, Armigers are skilled and deadly warriors. Now this gives me a quick opportunity to mention one of the prestige classes. So, Pathfinder lets you multi-class. You technically, as you level up, choose, you could do 1 or 2 levels of fighters or one of these subclasses, and then decide, you know what, I want to take a level of druid or cleric. But there are certain classes that we will cover later that require specific prerequisites, and the Hellknight is one of those. So I'm going to quickly preview the Hellknight. They're down here. Notice how it's grayed out. You can't start with them. So the Hellknight, here's the Hellknight signifier that they mentioned, and the Hellknight. So in red here, it shows you what you have to be to qualify to unlock this Hellknight. So you have to be lawful good, neutral, evil. but you need armor proficiency heavy. So obviously fighters will automatically get this. You need knowledge arcana 2. So when you pick your skills, when you level up, you need to be at least level 2. And this isn't like knowledge 2, like if you get a bonus from intelligence, that's not how it counts. You could have a +4 from intelligence, but if you have to technically put 4 little skill points into knowledge arcana, you have to have put 5 skill points into persuasion and have a base attack bonus of 5. So at a minimum, you have to be level 5 before you get this bonus. Because like let's say fighters, you get a base attack bonus of 1 at level 1. At level 2, it's 2, 3, and 4. So that's a BAB progression of 1. But do note, some other classes will have a 3/4 BAB. So at level 6, they'll only have, for example, like a 4. Or even worse, like casters will have a 1/2 BAB, meaning they're only going to get a point. You know, they're going to, at level 6, they would only have a BAB of 3. So it may take longer and longer to reach these prerequisites. So that caster, if you wanted to be Hellknight for whatever reason, you would have to be level 10 before you even meet this prerequisite. Once you have them, the next level you pick, you can pick the Hellknight, and they're going to have their own progression and so forth. And again, I will go over that in the future, these features for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get back to the fighter. Hopefully that reference now makes sense. And we'll see why in a moment. You know, this is kind of like a easy path, or it's meant to work towards becoming a Hellknight, for example. So most Armigers live and train at their order's citadel, working towards the day when they become full-fledged Hellknights. These Armigers follow a brutally strict routine. They spend hours honing their combat skills against other trainees, obsessively studying the Citadel's libraries, or memorizing passages of the Hellknight philosophy known as the measure and the chain. At regular intervals, squads of Armigers emerge from the Citadel to patrol nearby cities or frontier lands, working to enforce Hellknight law and their order's edicts. So, let's look at what comes with being an Armiger. You're still going to have normal fighter proficiencies. You're also going to get an order. Okay, so a character must choose one Hellknight order to join at first level. Choice of order determines what disciplines the character gains later access to later. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. And they're also studious squires. An Armiger gains 1 additional skill rank at each level. Now, this is huge because if you remember, we talk about those skill ranks and trying to meet the prerequisites for Hellknight. So if you need knowledge arcana, normally it would take 5 levels of putting in those skill ranks. Here, basically, at level 3, you could put 3 points in there and it turns into 6. So as far as I understand here, you could become a Hellknight quicker. Now, in addition to Armiger treats Knowledge World as a class skill. This alters the fighter's class skills and skill points per level and replaces the fighter's bonus feat gained at first level and 10th level. So you're not going to get that fighter bonus element. So now let's go ahead. I'm going to real quick so we can take a look at the impacts of the orders. We're going to go through here and I'm going to get to the order section. So I'm just going to quickly pump some points in, so let's me go to the next one. These are completely random, don't mind me placing them. Alright, we're just going to put, there you go. I'm going to pick a random feat. Again, don't mind, I'm not being strategic here at all. I'm going to pick a background selection. Again, I'm keeping none so it doesn't use the setup. I will in the future do a video on background selection so you can see all the options because they will give you different bonuses for your skills. And then here are the orders. So let's take a look at the orders. So the first one is Order of the Chain. Hellknights of the Chain value social order and responsibility, seeking out to root out anarchies and fugitives. They have a reputation as relentless hunters who drag lawbreakers away in chains. These Hellknights keep meticulous counts on the number of criminals they've brought to justice. They never abandon pursuit of fugitive, and they believe everyone has a specific crucial role to play in society. So again, this is probably the one they would choose. Now, what impact that has, I'm not 100% sure whether it may proc things in the story, etc. But you do choose one. I would have thought this would provide like innate bonuses, but it may just be flavor text. Again, if somebody knows from the Pathfinder pencil and paper whether this is supposed to add something and maybe they haven't added to the game, or if it's always been only thematic, please let me know in the comments below. Order of the Gate. So Order of the Gate, Hellknights seek to curb and prevent lawlessness through magic manipulation. Their reputation is mysterious, emotionless, and sometimes cruel magic users. Many are convinced that the Order of the Gate's Hellknights are spying on them or already know their secrets. Sometimes the fear is true, as Order's members prefer preventing crime to punishing it and often use manipulation, information gathering, and spying to further their agenda. Order of the Godclaw. Order of the Godclaw Hellknights enforce law of a Crusader's zeal, going where they're needed most in the fight against the forces of chaos. They know no bounds or borders in the quest for absolute order. To Hellknights of the Godclaw, cause of order is a holy mandate, for which they will travel far to battle chaos in lands that know little of civilization. To others, Hellknights' faith is likely inexplicable. Some believe the members of the order are experts in all 5 individual faiths, or even that they are heretics. Order of the Nails. Hellknights idealize civilized societies and seek to unite all people in advancing the culture baseline. In fact, the Order of Nails members preach that everyone who doesn't embrace their own culture is a criminal, and heathen who must be destroyed. Order's members idealize the lifestyle and challenge of frontier settlers, no matter the displacement, indignation, or cruelty they might visit on those who were there before. Order of the Pyre. So Order of the Hellknights of the Order of the Pyre seek to combat outlanders' faiths and beliefs, preventing them from gaining purchase in the Inner Sea region. They are cult hunters first and foremost, but also fight to repress other philosophies they deem dangerous. These Hellknights hate and vocally condemn cults, cultists, priests, or of rare religions, and followers of mystical orders. Get Order of the Rack. Order of the Rack Hellknights hate wastefulness of both thought and deed. They crush pointless dreams and rebellions and trample frivolous or dangerous inventions. Also closely observe individuals seeking hints of destructive ambitions and wasteful vices, and are skilled at destroying seditious writings and strange inventions. So this is pretty hardcore. And then Order of the Scourge. Hellknights of the Scourge seek out corruption within orders and law. Law is not fit for the lawful. They question or seek to determine the difference between what is legal and what is for the greater good, owing allegiance to no one nation or ruler. Their quests for order often take them places that other Hellknights cannot tread, both physically and philosophically. As a result, their commitment to the measure and the chain must be beyond reproach. So these are the orders you choose, and obviously you can imagine these Armigers are training to become Hellknights, and so these are the philosophies of the Hellknights that they hope to be, that they're taking on. So going back to the feats of the special abilities of the Hellknights, notice again, you're going to get most of your bonus combat feats. You're only giving up one. It looks like they would normally get level 10, but you get all the other ones. You also can get Ardent. So Armigers are difficult to sway from their beliefs. At 2nd level, Armiger gains +1 bonus on will saves against charm and compulsion effects. Increases +1 for every 4 fighter levels beyond. Additionally, first time per day Armiger fails a saving throw against a charm or compulsion effect, he rerolls a saving throw of the same DC. This replaces bravery. So they're not going to have that +1 against fear. Instead, progression. Instead, it's going to get up to +5 to, like, you know, mind control, etc. effects, and then you get to reroll it once. So that's pretty powerful. You're going to get armor training, it's like a normal fighter, and you're going to get all, it looks like 3, 4 You're going to get 4 of those instead of 5, it looks like. So you're losing +1, potentially. But you will get that armor mastery, as a normal 500 does, that the 5 damage reduction against all types of attacks. You're also going to get the normal weapon training. 3, 4, all 7 of them. As well as the weapon mastery at 20th level. So, really, you're just trading out, you know, the charm resistance and charm-like effects for fear effects, and really it's meant to be as a fast track to unlocking the prerequisites for skill ranks towards Hellknight. But, you know, now that I think about it, I do have to retcon a part of the comment earlier on. I mentioned you can unlock it a little quicker. That is correct for skill requirements, but your BAB will still be limited, your base tech bonus. So you still will have to wait till after level 5, but technically this would allow you thematically to prep. Also, you're not going to have to put as many points in your skill paths like Knowledge Arcana. So partially thematic, and slight change here, as I mentioned, with Ardent swapping out. And that's pretty much it for that. Now let's go ahead, go back and take a look at the other subclasses. Next we get Dragonheir Scion. So Dragonheir Scions are the martially inclined humanoid descendants of those influenced by draconic power. Unlike their sorcerer brethren, Dragonheir Scions manifest their heritage in ways more suited to strength of arms and skill with steel than arcane energies. Those who follow the path are often the children of mighty dragon-blooded sorcerers and others who drew energies from their dragon blood, though they themselves might not exhibit spellcasting ability. So, let's take a look at the differences here. You're going to get your normal fighter proficiencies. You're also going to get Arcane Strike at level 1. So, spending a swift action each round, you can imbue your weapon with a fraction of your power. One round, your weapon deals +1 damage and are treated as magic for the purpose of overcoming damage reduction. For every 5 caster levels you possess, the bonus increases by +1 to a maximum of +5 at level 20. You're also going to get to pick very specifically a draconic bloodline. So Blood Ragers and Sorcerers, for example, can choose any kind of bloodline. This, you pick very specific draconic bloodline. Let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like when that happens. So I'm going to pick, again, outside of the type of energy these are, thematically, ability-wise, these will be the similar. Let's say we just choose Black Draconic Bloodline. I want to see if it actually shows up any differences here. So it doesn't pop up as it adding extra traits, but according to the writing, see here, if we deselect it, at first level, a Dragonheir Scion must select one chromatic or metallic dragon. Once chosen, cannot be changed. So a number of Dragonheir Scion's abilities deal damage and grant resistance is based on the dragon type as noted below. If a Dragonheir Scion takes a level in another class that grants a bloodline, the bloodline must be of the same type, even if that means bloodlines of one of the classes must change. So, again, you pick one of these, they're going to have an energy type associated with them, as we can see here. So black is acid, blue is electricity, brass is fire, bronze dragon is electricity, copper is acid, gold is fire, green dragon is acid, red is fire, silver is cold, and white is cold. Now let's take a look at how that impacts things. You are going to give up a couple of bonus combat feats, so the one that you would normally get at level 4 and 6. You're still going to get normal weapon training, all 7 of those, as a base fighter. But then, at level 6, your skill with your favorite weapon can frighten enemies. So when wielding the weapon in which you have a weapon focus, can perform a bewildering show of prowess as a full combat action, making a persuasion intimidation check to demoralize all foes with 30 feet who can see your display. And then you're gonna gain wings at level 15. So you're gonna get +3 dodge bonus to AC against melee attacks and an immunity to ground-based effects such as difficult terrain. Now, what I find interesting here, I don't know if there is a missing feature, but it mentions here where you select the dragon type that number of Dragonheir Scion's abilities deal damage and grant resistance based on the dragon type. But it is not noted here. So I do want to put an asterisk on this subclass that part of these elements may not be implemented, or they simply may not be showing up on this list. So it seems a little odd that they do not have that. I want to see if by chance it pops up on this list here as I scroll down. It doesn't look like it. So do take that with a grain of salt. This is either incomplete or the text isn't matching the features, because it looks like it's missing some features potentially. Again, it is beta though, so there are some things that are still incomplete. Now let's go ahead and move on and take a look at Tower Shield Specialists. Many fighters believe that Tower Shield is a tool suitable only for the troops of the battlefield, when it is too large and bulky to use in skirmishes or within dungeon corridors. Tower Shield Specialists defy those notions, using their massive shields with startling skill and incredible effects. They use these seemingly clumsy shields to perform deft maneuvers that confound their enemies. So, let's look at the differences. You're still going to get all your main fighter proficiencies. You're going to get your bonus combat feat at level 1, and then normal progression for bonus feat. So basically every other level, even level starting at 2, all the way to 20. Now here are some of the differences. You're going to get Burst Barrier. So at second level, Tower Shield Specialist can use his shield to screen himself from burst spells and effects, gaining a +1 bonus on reflex saves against them while employing a Tower Shield. It increases +1 every 4 levels after second. So you'll notice here it'll be +2, +3, +4, and at 18 you get +5. Still going to get your armor training. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're going to get your +4 armor training. And then you're going to get your armor mastery at level 19 as well. 5 against all types of damage. And again, your armor training, just as noted as the base fighter, it's going to make it so you're going to reduce the armor check penalty by 1 per tier to a minimum 0, and you're going to be able to get more out of your natural, your dexterity bonus that you gather. So +1 per tier, so eventually you could gain as much as +4 extra dexterity bonus to armor class from your armor or from your character. In addition, a fighter can also move at his normal speed while wearing medium armor. At 7th level, a fighter can move at his normal speed while wearing heavy armor, because normally that slows them down. So you just became more agile and more skillful and utilize, doing everything while in heavy armor. You're also going to get Tower Shield training. This is pretty a big deal. 3rd level, Tower Shield Specialist gains armor training as normal, but while he deploys the Tower Shield, the armor penalty is reduced by 3, and the maximum dexterity bonus allowed by his Tower Shield increases by 2. Benefit increases every 4 levels thereafter as per standard armor training. The Tower Shield Specialist not employing a Tower Shield, benefits armor training reverts to normal. That's a pretty big deal. You're basically, if you're using a Tower Shield and any armor, probably heavy armor, you're going to be able to pretty much maximize your dex bonus. No matter how high your dexterity is, it'd be very, very difficult to well, okay, I take that back, because this game you can get incredible stats, but you're just going to have a much higher cap for dexterity. So you're much less likely to use dexterity as a dump stat when you are making this character. And obviously, +2 armor bonus, armor class bonus to your Tower Shield, which is always nice. And then you're going to get Tower Shield Specialist at level 5. 5th level, Tower Shield Specialist employs a Tower Shield in combat. He does not take the -2 penalty on attack rolls because of the shield's encumbrance. Again, that's a big downside why a normal fighter will not use a Tower Shield. Anything that's going to lower your attack stat, this makes it harder and harder to hit stuff, especially at higher levels. So this is really nice to negate that. Level 9, while using Tower Shield, the Tower Shield Specialist gains his shield bonus against touch attacks. That's a big deal as well, because there are a lot of creatures, or specifically high-powered creatures, that will just do touch attacks, bypass armor, and so getting that as high as possible, especially for a class like a fighter, is a big deal. Total cover, so 13 level while using Tower Shield. A Tower Shield Special cannot be flanked. That's also big, especially if certain enemies have, team feats that will let you flank and get extra bonuses. This is a way that normally a fighter that has a shield and is defensive can get whittled down if he gets surrounded. And then Tower Shield Evasion, level 16. While using Tower Shield, the Tower Shield Specialist gains Evasion as a rogue class. He makes a successful reflex saving throw against an attack. Normally deals half damage on a successful save. He instead takes no damage. So again, another reason to have high dex and dexterity reflex saves stats. And then you get improved evasion at 20th level. Tower Shield improved evasion. Shield specially gains improved evasion as the rogue advanced talent while using a Tower Shield. Works like evasion, except that while Tower Shield Specialist still takes no damage on a successful reflex save against an attack, he henceforth takes only half damage on a failed save. So, always going to take at least some amount of less damage. So, as far as full, straight up martial prowess for defense, this is about as defensive you can get. Minimizing worries like being flanked and just maximum armor class, and minimizing the encumbrance elements of wearing heavy armor as well as shields. So, a very cool theme. And finally, you're going to get two-handed fighter. So some fighters focus their efforts on finding the biggest, heaviest, most imposing weapon they can find in training to manage and harness the weight of their massive weapon for maximum impact. These fighting school benefits only apply when using two-handed weapons. This is kind of the polar opposite of the Tower Shield Specialist. So again, normal fighter proficiencies. You're going to get normal bonus combat feats, one at level 1 and then 2 in every other. But now you're going to get Strong Grip as a new feature. At second level, two-handed fighter gains +1 bonus to CMB and CMD. So combat maneuver bonus and combat maneuver defense on sunder attempts and on disarm attempts. So better at sundering and disarming and less likely to get sundered or disarmed. This increases +1 for every 4 levels after 2. So eventually 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You get +5 to both of these. 18. You get two-handed weapon training, so very focused. When a two-handed fighter attacks a weapon from this group, you gain +1 bonus attack and damage. Now you're basically sacrificing the diversity of your weapon training. And here you get +5 to each. So very, very specialized. Overhand chop. So at third level, when a two-handed fighter makes a single attack, the attack action or a charge. So not so it implies not a full attack, I guess. But two-handed weapon, he adds double his strength bonus on damage rolls. Now that's a little odd. So I'm curious why this wouldn't work on a full attack, which would give him multiple attacks. So either this is a typo or this isn't as powerful as I would hope. But again, you get double strength instead of 1.5 times strength, which is common with for any other kind of fighter. It's going to be 1.5 times for two-hander. Get backswing at 7th level. So when a two-hander fighter makes a full attack, here we go. So it is at 7 again. When you get full attack with a two-handed weapon, he adds double his strength bonus on damage rolls for all attacks after the first. So here, you were full attacks, you wouldn't get the 2. On this side, on level 7, your first attack, you're still just going to get 1.5 times strength bonus, but then when you get multiple attacks, the other ones will get 2 times. Hence backswing, and as you swing back, you're going to get that extra bonus. You're going to get Pile Driver at 11. Channel your inner Zangief, I guess. 11th level, as a standard action, a two-handed fighter can make a single melee attack with a two-handed weapon. If the attack hits, he may make a bull rush or trip combat maneuver against the target of his attack as a free action that does not provoke an attack of opportunity. So normally you have to choose if you want to do a bull rush or trip. and you forgo an attack, this gives you an ability that you're going to make your attack, you're going to forgo doing a full attack, and then if it goes well, you could also get the bull rush or trip impact. So the net result is if you succeed on both, you're going to get an extra attack on just that attack on top of the combat maneuver. Level 15, you're going to get greater power attack. So 15th level, when using power attack with two-handed melee weapon, the bonus damage from power attack is doubled, plus 100% instead of increased by half, 50%. So this is big because you take this this bonus, and then you also compound that with that strength bonus being doubled, and that's going to, those numbers you're going to be hitting are going to start getting kind of ridiculous when you use power attack, as well as eventually probably improve power attack. And then 19, you get Devastating Blow. As a standard action, two-handed fighter may make a single melee attack with a two-handed weapon at a -5 penalty. That's a big penalty, but if the attack hits, it's treated as a critical hit. Special weapon abilities that activate only on critical hits do not activate if this critical hit is confirmed. Now, this is a little tricky because critical hits are amazing. And if you have a weapon that has a really poor crit range, let's say only like on a 20, this might be worth it. But let's say you end up getting, you know, a weapon, a magical weapon that has a really good range for critical hitting. Let's say it ends up being like a 17, maybe even a 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, or 17, 18, 19, 20. This may not be worth it because, again, you're foregoing the multiple attacks. And if, let's say, you're critting on a 17, 18, 19, and 20, that's, you know, 4 out of 20, and you eventually do 4 attacks, statistically, that's pretty close to the, you know, chance of almost guaranteeing one of those will be a crit. So this is interesting on paper. By the time you get level 19, the amount of feats and abilities you have by that point, this may be a little redundant. Especially since special abilities that are that require critical hits don't proc, so it's not like a way that you can guarantee those effects, which would be kind of my natural instinct to the reason why you would want to use this. So because that doesn't work, it kind of takes some of the oomph out of this ability. Then of course a level 20 weapon mastery as the basic fighter. So this does increase that attack modifier. So again, it can make certain weapons that are bad at critting a little bit better, but the ones that are already amazing at critting even better, so they could make this Devastating Blow even more redundant. So that being said, it sounds kind of cool thematically. I don't know if the things that you lose are worth it for these benefits. It's up for you to decide, but you are giving up a lot to get this effect. So that is the fighter. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the hunter. Now, the hunters are warriors of the wild that have forged close bonds with trusted animal companions. They focus their tactics on fighting alongside their companion animal as a formidable team of 2, able to cast a variety of nature spells and take on abilities that attributes of beasts. Hunters magically improve both themselves and their animal companions. So lots of options here. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Baseline hunter. So level 1, you're going to get an animal companion. And so this is the highest kind of quality of companions as far as strength. So he has an effective druid level. Sorry, let me see here. Does it state this? Yeah. So unlike normal animals of its kind, animal companions' hit dice, abilities, skills, and feats advance as the druid advances in levels. Character receives an animal companion from more than one source. He effective druid level stacks for the purpose of determining the statistics and abilities of this companion. So it looks like it doesn't state here, but I believe it has the maximal. It doesn't have like a minus level penalty to their animal companions, which makes sense because this is kind of their thing. You get your weapon proficiencies, all simple and martial weapons with light armor, medium armor, and shields except tower shields. Animal focus. So level 1, you're gonna get an animal companion. Unlike with the hunter herself, there is no duration on an animal aspect applied to her animal companion. As aspects applied in this way remain in effect until a hunter changes it. So if a hunter's animal companion is dead, the hunter can apply her animal companion focus to herself instead of her animal companion. And these aspects are kind of buffs, so you can have aspect of the bear to increase, I believe it's constitution. You have like the bull that'll give you strength, or there's one for dexterity. Normally you would apply it as this says to your pet. If the pet dies, it can be applied to you. Additionally, a hunter can take on the aspect of an animal as a swift action. She gets the same benefit as the current animal companion focus. Hunter can use the ability for a number of minutes per day equal to her level. It does not have to be consecutive, but 1 minute at a time. So what it's saying is, if the pet's alive, that aspect bonus is permanently on the pet. If it dies, it goes on the hunter. But there's also certain amounts of time per day. While the pet has it, you can also take on that aspect to get buffs. And you get a nature sense, so +2 bonus to lower nature checks. Now, at level 2, you automatically get Precise Companion. Hunter chooses either Precise Shot or Outflank as a bonus feat. Does not need to meet the prerequisites. So this is going to be a choice depending on whether you're going to be a ranged character or if you're going to be flanking, meaning if you're going to be in melee of your pet. So purely helping you choose what kind of character you are going to be. You're going to get teamwork feats. This is big. So 3rd level and every 3rd level after, the hunter gains a bonus teamwork feat in addition to those gained from normal advancements. Hunter must meet the prerequisites. So these are key because it's going to... Teamwork feats are feats that will only really make a difference if you and another character has it. Now, in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, your animal companions level up and they gain feats as well. So you could have the pet pick a specific teamwork feat and you pick a matching one. And when you're adjacent to enemies together, you get those feats. Also, other characters could have those as well. But the key here is you're going to get these added in addition to your normal feat progression. Now you're going to get Hunter Tactics. So at 3rd level, the Hunter automatically gains... so here, you don't even have to select it for those companions manually. Because at 3rd level, you're going to automatically grant your teamwork feats to the animal companion. Companion doesn't need to meet the prerequisites. So again, whatever you pick, your pet gets. And so you're going to automatically have at least one partner for teamwork feats. And then in addition, other characters, if they get them, they'll get the benefit as well. And you're going to get a 2nd animal focus at 8th. So whenever a hunter uses an animal focus ability, she gets 2 different animals aspects for herself instead of 1. You can assign 2 aspects to her companion instead of 1. So you could get like a strength bonus and a dex bonus. Or, a dex and a constitution, you name it. So even more diversified there. Raise Animal Companion, so 10th level, Hunter gains Raise Animal Companion as a spell-like ability. At 16th level, functions as Resurrection instead of Raise Dead, but otherwise operates as normal. So, again, more control over maintaining your pet, which is a big deal. Because pets are pretty overpowered in this game. And on One of the Wild, 17th level, the Hunter Animal Companions are respected or even feared by other animals. Hunter and her companion can attempt to demoralize all animals in 30 feet radius as a swift action, as if using Dazzling Display. And again, it's key that this is a swift action because then you can still do your attacks. And 20th, Hunter becomes Master Hunter. He gains the ability to receive the animal focus benefits any amount of times per day. So you can basically have it infinitely. Both for you and the pet will have 2 different animal focuses all the time. So that's that. Which is perfect. Now let's take a quick look. It should allow me to pick a pet here, so in case you guys are curious, let's see. Yeah, there it is. So let's take a very quick look at these animal companions. I'm going to do a quick mouse over. And again, I may very well do a video on the different animal companions in the future. But looking at here, there's a bear, a boar, a dog, an elk, giant centipede, a horse, a leopard, mastodon, monitor lizard, smilodon, and wolf currently. Now, do want to point out, these are not all created equal. They are not balanced. Some You may only want to really pick thematically. Otherwise, there's just some that are going to have better stats, better abilities, as you'll see. So again, I do believe I'm going to be making a video on this. And when I do, I will make sure to link it popping up here on the video afterwards. So you can check all of these out, see all the stats and so forth. All right, let's go ahead and go back to the subclasses. So, Colluding Scoundrel is the first one. Colluding Scoundrel is a canny and conniving skirmisher, manipulating her enemies and leveraging her allies for her own benefits. So, what is the difference? Still get an animal companion, okay? Still normal weapon and armor proficiencies. So, all simple martial weapons, light armor, medium armor, and shields except tower shields. And still nature sense, +2 lore to nature checks. You still at level 2 are going to get precise companion. A hunter chooses either precise shot or outflank as a bonus feat. Don't need to meet the prerequisites. Still have the bonus feats, bonus teamwork feats. Progression, you're going to get a level 3, 4, 5, 6 throughout your advancement. Now you are going to also get hunter tactics. So again, anything you give to yourself as far as these teamwork feats, your pet gets it. But here's the differences. At level 8, you're going to get Backstabber. 8th level, a Colluding Scoundrel deals 2d6 additional points of damage on attacks against a target threatened by an ally currently designated as a scapegoat. This increases to 3d6 points of damage at 15th level. This is a precision damage and is not multiplied on a critical hit, but does stack with sneak attack and similar effect. So that's important to note because precise damage, again, just like sneak attack, doesn't multiply on critical hit. It's kind of bonus damage. Now it doesn't, so the only thing I'm not sure here, it says something marked as a scapegoat. I don't know if that's like an ability they get, like almost like a hunter's mark. It doesn't note it here. So it may just be an oversight because it's beta, but do note that it is very specific and it says something designated as a scapegoat. And then you're going to raise the animal companion as usual at 10th level. One of the wild, it's got that basically AoE impact where you can do an AoE demoralization against all animals, 30 feet radius as a swift action. So it's as if using Dazzling Display. And Master Backstabber at 20th. So notice you are giving up those aspects, having 2 of the aspects at the same time for you and the pet. Instead, 20th level, a Colluding Scoundrel becomes a master of dispatching distracted animals. As a standard action, she can make a single attack against the foe that is taking the penalties of her scapegoat ability. So here it is, it's emphasized. So it is an ability that you must get on your taskbar for being this class or subclass. Again, targeting somebody that's targeted by the scapegoat ability and is adjacent to an ally currently designated as the scapegoat. If the attack hits, the target takes damage normally and must succeed on a Fortitude save, DC 10 plus half the Colluding Scoundrel's level plus her Wisdom modifier, or be slain. Whether or not the target succeeds, it cannot be targeted by this ability by any Colluding Scoundrel for 24 hours. So this could be quite powerful depending on the Fortitude saving skill. So some big, huge, monstrous, high constitution monsters, this may be very, very hard to get off on, but especially like, you know, casters and, you know, more slightly less bulky and burly NPCs, this could be a nice kind of one-shot kill. So that's the Colluding Scoundrel. Then you have the Divine Hunter. So you're going to get your animal companion. You're going to get your weapon and armor proficiencies as normal. Which again, all martial and simple weapons, light armor, medium armor, shields except tower shields. You're going to get your animal focus. So this is just like normal. So these are going to be the buffs you can apply. You're going to choose of the bear, of the bull, etc. to get bonuses to things like strength, your constitution, and so forth. You can apply it to your pet. It's on permanently. If the pet dies, it goes on you. And then numerous times a day. It's basically 1 minute per character level. You can apply it to yourself while your pet is alive as well. You're going to get +2 bonus to lore nature checks. Now you're going to get a deity. So this one right here, hence divine, you're going to get to have a deity and a domain. So this is important because just like a cleric, for example, you're going to want to check out my video on domains and deities, because there's a lot of different options and they're going to give you different benefits, different spells that get added to your repertoire. So that is key. You're going to get the Precise Companion. So at second level, you can choose either Precise Shot or Outflank as a bonus feat, again without needing the prerequisites. You're going to get Otherworldly Companion at third level. This is kind of unique. Hunter's Companion takes on otherworldly features. The Divine Hunter is good, the Animal Companion gains the Celestial template. If the Hunter is evil, the Animal Companion gains the Fiendish template. If the Hunter is neutral, she must choose either Celestial or Fiendish template. Once it's chosen, it is permanent. You get your second Animal Focus at 8th level. So you get 2 different Animal Focus for herself or the Companion. You can get your Raised Animal as normal at level 10. And One of the Wild at 17. So again, the Hunter Animal Companions are expected to feel or even feared by other animals. And you can do that swift action to do a 30 feet radius demoralizing effect. So as if using Dazzling Weapon. And finally, at level 20, Master Hunt, you gain the ability to receive the Animal Focus benefits any amount of times per day. So again, both you and the pet will have 2 Animal Focus. So again, big deal is the domains. Let's take a real quick look at this. Now, if you do want to see all the lists of all the descriptors and all the benefits of all of them, you can check out my deity and domain video. But let's just say a Rastral you pick, that's one for range combat a lot of times. Then you can go and pick one of these. So Animal Companion normally would get you a pet, which this really wouldn't be, you know, there's a little bit overlap here, but maybe you want to do Good Domain. So Good Domain is now going to give you Touch of Good, Special Ability, Holy Lance, and specific domain spells is listed here. And again, if I have a video that goes over all of these, so you can check them out. Otherwise, going through all these would make this video even longer than it already is. So do check that out. I'll make sure to link that for you. Okay, so there's that example of that. Now, in addition to that domain and those access to those spells, you are also going to get... Oh, I believe... Did I go over these already? Okay. So the rest of this is the same as the normal Hunter. So you're going to Precise Companion at second level. You're going to get that Otherworldly Companion as I mentioned. Second Animus, Raised Animal Companion, One of the Wild, and Master Hunt. So nothing else changes there. So again, basically just a Holy Hunter. Next you get Forester as an option. So while all hunters have a bond of the natural world, a forester has a stronger tie to her environment than to the animals within it. While most foresters feel strong bonds of woodland regions, the archetype functions well in other terrains as well. In such cases, a forester might refer to herself by a different name that more accurately reflects her chosen terrain. For example, a forester who favors bogs and marshes may call herself a swamper, while one who favors frozen regions might call herself a glacier guardian. As foresters gain levels and take on new favorite terrains, often eschew such titles completely, viewing them as unnecessary, merely refer to themselves as guardians of the wild or champions of nature as well, but regardless of the name, their devotion remains. So let's see the differences here. You're going to get a weapon armor proficiencies as normal, so simple martial weapons, light armor, medium armor, and shields except tower shields. You're going to get +2 on nature lore checks. Get your animal focus. Well, it says, as a forester has no animal companion, so you're getting rid of your animal option. The aspect granted by this ability always applies to the forester herself, just as if the normal hunter companion were dead. So you get basically one permanent animal aspect starting level 1. You're going to get some limited bonus combat feats, so no more, you do not. You're going to still get teamwork feats, as we'll see here in a second, but you get additional bonus combat feats, as kind of like how warriors get, or fighters get. You can get 1, 2, 3, 4 bonus combat feats as you level up. You're going to get teamwork feats at 3rd level and every 3 levels, so 3. You're going to get a total of 6 teamwork feats. Now you're going to have other characters that have this benefit for this to be worthwhile now, especially since you don't have a pet to share it with. You're going to get Tactician. So 3rd level, as a standard action, Forester can grant a benefit of one of the teamwork feats to all her allies within 30 feet. You can see or hear her. So, if you want to bypass your team members needing to get their own teamwork feats, you can use this. It's a limited amount of times, but you can provide the benefits to all allies. And the only downside here at level 1 is, or level 3 here, is only one of those feats you can share. So if you want to have, here you're going to have up to 6 yourself. So allies retain the use of this bonus feat for 3 rounds plus 1 round for every 2 levels of the Forester has. Allies do not need to meet the prerequisite of those bonus feats. You can use the ability once per day at 3rd, plus an additional time a day. It's at 7th level and every 5th level. It replaces the Hunter Tactics. So again, you would probably, whichever has the highest prerequisites, you would probably choose that one. And then maybe you would have other characters pick up some of the lower requirement ones, so that you can get more than one benefit from it. And you don't have to, but that's probably a recommendation. Get Evasion at level 4. So a character can avoid even magical and unusual attacks of great agility. If a character makes a successful reflex saving throw against an attack, normally deals half damage on a successful save, instead takes no damage. A helpless character does not gain the benefit of evasion. So there's that, and then you're going to get Favorite Terrain. This is what was referenced in the flavor text. So 3rd level, Ranger can select a type of terrain. The Ranger gains a +2 bonus on initiative checks and lore nature, perception, and stealth skill checks while in this terrain. At 8th level and every 5 levels after, Ranger may select an additional favorite terrain. In addition, at each interval, the skill bonus and initiative bonus in any of one favorite terrain, including the one just selected, is increased by +2. So, as you level up and you're going to get a total of 4 of these, you can either make one of them really, really powerful, or you could spread it out over the various terrains. So, again, if you've played this game through more than once, you kind of know what kind of terrains you're going to be heading into. You could be a little more strategic about this. If it's your first playthrough, you may be kind of guessing on the favorite terrains. So there is a chance you may pick a favorite terrain that isn't really prevalent very often in the current game, which could be a bit of a waste. Then we get a level 7 Camouflage. So at 7th level, Forester can use the Stealth skill to hide in any of her favorite terrains, even if the terrain doesn't grant cover or concealment. It replaces bonus trick. So this is big because you could literally hide in plain sight. So that could be situationally quite good. You get Breath of Life at 10th. So at 10th level, Forester can cast Breath of Life once per day. It's a spell-like ability and replaces the Raised Animal Companion. And basically this is like a touch ability that brings somebody back from the dead, just barely. Not as powerful, obviously, as a resurrection or anything like that, but it kind of raises them from the brink. Improved Evasion at level 11. So, works like Evasion, except that while the character still takes no damage on a successful reflex saving throw against an attack, you now only take half even if you fail, as long as you're not helpless. You also get Terrain Expertise starting at level 11, in addition to these 4 favorite terrains. So at 11th, a Forester learns total expertise over 1 terrain he has already selected for favorite terrain. While dealing with creatures on that terrain, the Forester treats his favorite terrain bonus for terrain as a favorite enemy bonus, as the Ranger class feature against those creatures. This bonus overlaps, does not stack, with bonuses gained when fighting favorite enemy. Each terrain dominance grants additional abilities. So this is important. The reason they say it doesn't stack is you might take some levels in Hunter and then take Ranger, for example. And if you were to get favored enemy bonuses there, you know, they don't want this to get super stacked. Now notice this doesn't tell you about what really what favored enemy bonus is. So we're gonna jump over to for a moment Ranger in a moment, and I'll show you what that is. Now you're also going to get Hide in Plain Sight at 14. A Ranger of 17th level or higher can use the camouflage in any terrain. That's pretty big. One with the Wild at 17th, the Hunter animal companions are respected or even feared by others. Now I don't know if this is because of the wording. The Hunter and a companion can attempt to demoralize all animals 30 feet radius with a 30 foot radius as a swift action, as if using Dazzling Display. So I'm assuming it just means you can do it by yourself, since you don't naturally have a pet. And at 20th, you get Hunter becomes Master to Hunt. You can receive 2 animal focuses instead of 1. So that's that. Now, as promised, let's take a very quick detour to Ranger, so you can see what favorite enemy is. So here is the text, if you're curious. At first level, so just imagine this is going to be at the level as we saw here for Hunter, not first level. Ranger selects the creature type from the Ranger favorite enemy. He gets a +2 bonus on weapon attacks and damage rolls against them. And then at 5th level and every 5 levels thereafter, you may select additional ones. So in this case, again, the frequency is not going to be as listed here. In addition, in each interval, the bonus against any one favorite enemy, including the one just selected, is increased by +2. So, going back to the Hunter, Forester is noted here. So, we had this stacking effect for the favorite terrain. So imagine here, starting with 11, in addition to getting these bonuses listed here to the terrain type, you're going to have favored animals that also stack with it. So when you're fighting in that terrain, any animal, let me make sure it mentions animals specifically. Creatures. So not just animals, but any creatures in that terrain. So if you're in the woods, you're also going to get a baseline +2 attack, +2 damage. And if you've now favored that terrain multiple times, it might be +4 attack, +4 damage. So if you can strategically pick the right terrains, you can get insane bonuses for everything you fight there. So this inherently becomes very, very good if you're in the right terrains. Okay, so that's a Forester. Let's look at Urban Hunter next. So Urban Hunters help guards track down and apprehend criminals or spies, find lost children and disaster victims, and protect animals from abuse in the city. They still draw their inspiration and strength from the natural world, marveling at how nature flourishes wherever the city allows. So let's take a look at what they get. Normal armor and weapon proficiency, so simple martial weapons, light armor, medium armor, and shields, except tower shields. Animal focus, this is normal. Get 1 aspect to the pet, and then when the pet is dead, it comes to you. And 1 minute per level, you can also have it applied to you, even if the pet is alive. And again, the different aspects, some will give you strength bonuses, some dexterity, and so forth. Nature sense, so +2 bonus lore nature. You get your animal companion. You're still going to get precise companion, so again, level 2. Choose either precise shot or outflank, bonus feat. Don't have to meet the prereqs. You're going to get animal insight at level 5. So 5th level, Urban Hunter and her animal companions learn to combine their insight to defeat deception and manipulation. As long as they are within 30 feet of each other, both Hunter and animal companion gain an insight bonus on perception checks equal to half the Urban Hunter's Hunter level. That's huge. There's a lot of like hidden treasures and stuff in this game for finding stuff and traps. They also gain a +2 insight bonus on saving throws against mind affecting effects. So this is pretty darn good. You're going to get Captor, 6th level, and every 3 levels thereafter. The Urban Hunter selects a bonus feat from the following list to be granted by both, gained by both the Hunter and her animal companion. Neither the hunter nor her animal companion needs to meet the prerequisites. And of course, it doesn't list what they are. But there's going to be, and again, part of that is because it's beta. But you're going to have a variety of specific, appropriately themed feats that you get for both you and your pet. This is instead of the teamwork feats that you would normally get. So there's that. You also get captor. Oops. All right. I guess I don't know why this says it twice, but this is the same captor. You get second animal focus. So again, whenever a hunter uses her animal focus ability, you select 2 different animal aspects for herself instead of 1, and can assign 2 aspects to companion your pet, basically your companion, instead of 1. You can raise animals at 10th level just as normal, and at 16th level it works as resurrection instead of raised dead. You're gonna get frightful ferocity at 17th level. An urban hunter and her animal companion can each attempt an intimidate check to demoralize the foe as a swift action. That's kind of cool. The only downside is it's all the way at level 17. I don't know how powerful that will be at 17th, but you know, it's interesting. It's very thematic. And again, level 20th, you get Master of the Hunt, pretty standard. For a hunter, you can infinitely get 2 of those animal focuses on you and your pet. Just kind of a nice little capstone. So that is the Urban Hunter. Now, final subclass to finish this. I think this is my record length on a video between a hunter and a fighter. Is the Wandering Marksman. The Wandering Marksman is used to divert enemy attention from him to his animal companion, and then strike from a distance. So, let's look at the differences. You get your normal animal companion, level 1. Normal armor and weapon proficiencies. So, of all simple martial weapons and martial weapons, light armor, medium armor, and shields except tower shields. You get your animal focus, and yet again, so these are these special kind of buffs. Normally go on your pet. If the pet's die, it goes on you, and for a certain amount of rounds, equal to 1 minute per level on you, you can have them simultaneously. These are kind of buffs that will be like plus strength bonuses, plus dex, plus constitution, etc. You also get the normal natural sense that all hunters get, plus the bonus to lore nature. At 2, again, as normal, you're going to get to choose either precise shot or outflank as a bonus feat. Don't need to meet the prereqs. You're going to get planned distraction at level 3. 3rd level, whether the hunter attacks the enemy who has whenever the hunter attacks the enemy who is engaged in melee combat with his animal companion, hunter gets +1 circumstance bonus to attack and damage, and it increases to +2 at 12 and +3 to 18. Now, you may say, oh, why that progression is lower than some other plus bonuses. Well, the key here is this stacks with just about everything. A circumstance bonus is one of the rare bonuses what I've seen. So it's going to stack with different enhancement bonuses, luck bonuses, etc. So this is pretty darn good, as long as you guys are basically focus firing the same enemy. Self-reliance. This is huge. Again, I mentioned earlier in the video how overpowered pets were, companions, quote-unquote, were in Pathfinder Kingmaker, and I believe it's going to be the same in this game. So here, at 6th level, whenever the animal companion is 10 feet or more away from the hunter, basically insinuating more often than not that you're going to be using ranged weapons, he gets a morale bonus to AC equal to +1 for each hunter's 4 levels. So this, again, morale bonus is going to stack with the majority of other bonuses the pet may get. In their AC sky high, which is really nice for them to kind of tank more effectively. And so it looks like yeah, it's gonna. I think you're gonna get about like +4 eventually to that, which is pretty darn good. Second animal focus. So at 8th level, the pet's gonna basically, whenever a hunter uses her animal focus, you're gonna get 2 instead of 1. And again, if the pet's dead, you'll get the 2. And if you use your special ability on it, you can simultaneously both have 2 for a certain amount of time. Emergency swap, 9th level. Once per encounter level. For standard action, the Wandering Marksman can swap his animal companion and himself without provoking attacks of opportunity if they are within 30 range of each other. So this could be good if like you're in danger, the pet's kind of out somewhere, you're about to die, you can kind of get out of trouble, or vice versa. Raise Animal Companion 10th level, and then again 16th level it's going to be Resurrection. Imminent Attack at level 15. 15th level, Hunter as a standard action can shoot an ammunition 3 times per day, which marks all enemies in 10 feet area as prey. Against such creatures, the Animal Companion gets a +3 morale bonus to attack and damage, and its attacks bypass damage resistance for cold iron, mithril, adamantine, and hardness. So a lot of companions will just have natural attacks. So this is the N/cold iron is for natural attacks. Normally natural attacks, if you haven't buffed your pet with some sort of magical spell, they're gonna struggle bypassing some of the tougher enemies that have damage resistance. This allows you to bypass. That's a big deal. Whenever the Animal Companions kill a marked enemy, all its attack critical range increases by 1 until the end of combat. Multiple applications of this effect stack. So if your companion just starts killing more and more enemies, it's going to become just insane, going to crit more and more and more. So it might be strategic to have him like go after the weakest enemies, so you can just kill them off and then eventually go on to Big Boss, and it's going to be a murderous machine by that time. One of the Wilds, so at 17th level, you again get those the ability to do the effect of a dazzling display in an AoE as a swift action, 30-foot radius. And 20th level, Master of the Hunt. As of the other hunters, you're going to get 2 of those animal focuses 24/7, whichever one you choose for both you and your pet. So this is kind of the ultimate pet-focused combo while sacrificing some of kind of your individual abilities. So really reliant on your pet, but very, very cool. Okay, so that concludes the Hunter. Hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth look. If you do and you like this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. And as noted before, if you have recommendations or requests of what classes you would like for me to take a look at next, leave them in the comments below. I do use that to impact my decisions on what I'm going to cover. And with that being said, guys, this is Leeroy from Leeroy Gaming, and you guys have a wonderful day. See you guys next time.